Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. This is Sadia. I'm a non-native speaker. I'm teaching students about pronunciation and fluency. Yeah, it's definitely regarding English. But today I'm gonna help you out how you can read a passage, whether it's from IELTS reading module or your academic, like if you are a student or if you are a school student or college level student, whatever it is, it really doesn't matter. But I am gonna help you out for your reading module so that you can easily get used to with them. So let's dive into our main lecture. Here we can see a passage that has been taken from Cambridge 17 Test 1 Reading Passage 1. So the passage title is The Development of the London Underground Railway. So here, just take the first sentence in the first half of the this is from here. This is the first sentence. So our main task is to identify the subject and verb so that we can get our clear overview like what is subject and what is verb here. If we can get it, like here the subject is London's population and grew is a verb, so we have already done with our subject verb and it's extra information, like, so we don't need to read or we don't need to understand the extra information because once we just get our subject verb, we can easily get the main point of the sentence. Like London's population grew at an astonishing rate. And at the next, just here we have two idea, and that is connected with a connector that is and here our second subject is the central area, and the verb is became, and okay, we have got our subject verb. London's population grew, and the another idea is the central area became congested. That means, so here we have like two ideas. One is for the population of London, which grew rapidly, that is called an astonishing rate, and for the next idea, that is the central area became increasingly congested. So we have got two ideas here. So for the next sentence, we can see in addition, it's also an extra information. We don't need to about think about this more. So here the subject is the expansion of the overground. So here we can see a lot like more ideas or more than two words. So here just we have to take only the expansion of something. Like here the something means overground railway and its expansion or its extended version. And what at as a result it's resulted in more, like here the verb is resulted, and so resulted in more and more passengers. So we have already got our subject and the verb is, like, when something is increasing or when something is just get that is the extended version of thing. Like here we can see the railways extended version. What is the result? The result is it creates more passengers in the capital. So here the subject is the expansion and verb is resulted in. The next idea is opposite, because here we can see the word however. When we normally use the word however, right? So if the previous ideas contradicts with the present ideas, the time we just use a connector that is however. Having said that, okay, so it's very clear that as the passage uses here opposite and of opposite ideas or something, they use this word however. In 1846, a royal commission. Here the subject is a royal commission, and the verb is here decided, and it is the extra information. You don't need to bother more about the extra information here, like capital's history and business center. Okay, so a royal organization or a royal commission that decided, they decided or they made a decision on something or on about any issues. What they said here that the railways shouldn't be allowed to enter the city capital's historic and business center. Here we can also have an extra information that is not required here. But if you wanna read this sentence, you may go through this because here it's an apposition and you don't need to think about this more. So the next sentence, the result was that. So here the subject is the result and the verb is was that the overground railway station formed here. This is also an information or that is extra. So there's something said about this, and but the main subject is the result and was. So subject verb and its complement. And here we can also see the area within consisted of poorly built. Here, look, this is the subject, and this is the extra information. You don't need to bother about this. And overcrowded is verb. So just look, no. Have a look and read this sentence. The area overcrowded slums and the streets were full of house-drawn traffic. So look, this is a sentence, and the second one, the streets here as this is object or not the person. So here we can see after the subject here they use be verb. We have to also remind this like when just be verb comes after the subject, we have to remind this like it's a passive, okay, more than active, okay. So here we can also see the streets were full of horse-drawn traffic. So subject is the streets and verb, okay. So look, the area overcrowded slums and the streets were full of horse-drawn traffic. So crossing the city became a nightmare. So here the subject is crossing. So what crossing the city, okay? Crossing the city became a nightmare because there were a lot of traffic, people couldn't move properly that caused various problem. So this is the positive idea and these are the negative ideas where mention about overcrowding and very much problems with some other issues. So it could take an hour and a half to travel 8 kilometers by horse-drawn carriage, or various numerous schemes were proposed to resolve these problems, but few succeeded. Look, numerous schemes here. It is the subject and the verb is were proposed to resolve these problems, but few succeeded. So here subject, few, and succeeded is a verb. This is how you can reduce your paragraph like subject verb, subject verb, subject verb, subject verb, and this is how you can just uh, reduce you the or contraction your ideas or your sentence. So if you are much more familiar with proper sentence structures, you can easily solve any kind of questions and it will be much more easier for you. Okay, so I'm solving just have solved this part. Now this is your turn, how you can solve this. Look, I'm also assisting you here amongst the most vocal. Okay, this is another type of sentence structure here. Look, here verb comes first and the subject comes next. So this type of question sentence we normally call them as an inversion. So what is the structure of inversion, right? So here the normal structure for a normal sentence is like subject verb agreement or subject verb complement, but for the inversion we normally use or verb first and then use subject. Look, amongst the most vocal advocates for a solution to London's traffic problem was Charles Pearson. That means Charles Pearson was one of them. So they may write it down in this way, but they didn't do this. They just used in a different way that is called inversion. So don't panic, just go with the flow. And they also give some extra information. You don't need to panic because sometimes they also trick us to distract. Okay, so he saw both social and economic advantages in building an underground railway that would link the underground railway section stations together and clear London slums at the same time. So his idea was subject verb to relocate the poor workers who lived in the inner city slums to newly constructed suburbs and to provide cheap. Look, here one is like after the verb. We'll just use two plus verb one that is called infinitive, and here we can also see the second infinitive, but don't use here any kind of verb because they just connected by just connector, so that is and. So or it's also called conjunction. So his idea was to relocate the poor. His idea was to provide cheap rail travel for them to get to work. Okay, so they may use so sometimes various answer structures, or they may distract us by using some extra information that is look who lived in the inner city slums to newly constructed suburbs. It's completely extra information. Okay, so you don't need to be panicked for this. Just cut this sentence. Okay, and for the next sentence here we can see Pearson's ideas like subject here and verb is gained support amongst some businessmen, and in 1851 it's a clue, but you don't need to be panicked here. And he submitted a plan here, subject verb, a plan to parliament. It was rejected. That means it was rejected. Didn't get any kind of support, any kind of approval from the organization or from the parliament. So here it's just a look subject verb, and it is called passive voice. We have also said it earlier. Okay, so next one is for the next paragraph. It's almost similar subject verb when you just have done with the first one or two paragraph. I believe you can just easily solve this out. So now we are trying to solve question pattern from the IELTS reading module. Here we can see uh, complete the notes below, that is called notes completion or sentence completion something. So here we have to read instructions from here. Choose one word only from the passage for each answer. So write your answers in boxes 1 to 6 on your answer sheet. So here just as the question starts with first like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we can easily get the clue. Here, okay, first of all, we have to scan the word. We can also two numbers, 1800s and 1815s. Okay, and look, try to scan some strong words so that we can easily get. That is Charles Pearson. Okay, you also get another keyword, and the next one is look. Is there any kind of number or something? Okay, okay. Negative articles, we may take it, but it's not a strong point. Constructions, this is really important. Cut and cover when we get anything, just cover it with cut and cover, we can see it. Okay, so the first one is the dash or the gap of London increased rapidly. So what was increased? We have to identify. And that year was between 1800 and 1850. Okay, so let's dive into it. So in the first half of the 1800s, look, first half means between 1800 and 1850. So this is the paraphrase of this term. London's population. Look, here we can see London's population. And here, look, the gap of London. That means London's population.